Welcome to Sideline Savants, a fantasy football podcast dedicated to helping you set your lineups, navigate the waiver wire, prepare for bye weeks, strategically plan trades, and ultimately win your matchup. Do you have what it takes to become a sideline savant? What's going on, everybody? How we doing? Here we go, coming out of week 5, going into week 6. Man, what a another crazy week of fantasy football to talk about here. I'm glad y'all can join me here on the Boom Broadcasting Network. This is Sideline Savants. I'm Jason Calenzo, and I am blessed again to have my man, Shannon Smith, a.k.a. Podcast Smitty, from the Boom Broadcasting Network. He does quick hits. Now he is here blessing me once again on Sideline Savants, talking up some fantasy football. How you feeling today, Mr. Shannon Smith?
I'm feeling great off of another win. Let's talk about this. We had a crazy week, so I'm looking forward to it. Let's do it.
I'm feeling good too. This was my best week yet. I'm in 7 leagues. I won 6 out of 7. And so I'm feeling pretty good this week. In my 7th one, I was close. So this was a positive week, especially with all the blowouts and all some of the injuries we have going on that we're navigating. So I am loving it, man. But let's jump into some quick news, guys. If you have not been paying attention, excuse me, we just had another player go to IR, which seems to be growing. Brenton Strange, tight end. Losing them tight ends again, man. That's rough for the Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off a huge win Monday night against those Kansas City Chiefs, which was bananas to even see. I don't even know how they got into that game, but I guess a 99-yard interception will get you every time. But Brenton Strange heading for the IR, so you're going to lose him for the next 4 games. So, guys, make sure if you have him or looking for a tight end, jump on there. I'm not even sure who the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to use. They may have to either try to sign somebody or bring some up from the practice squad. So pay attention to that because guys are hitting IR pretty hard right now. And then other big news, Joe Flacco going from the Cleveland Browns to the Cincinnati Bengals. That AFC North is just bananas right now, swapping quarterbacks. So Joe Flacco, I think, is going to be on every team in the AFC North because he's been a Raven and he's now a Bengal. He was a Brown. So Pittsburgh, where are you at? So I think next year, Pittsburgh, once you're done with 157-year-old Aaron Rodgers, he get 162-year-old Joe Flacco to come on there, and that just completes this circle right there. Pretty crazy. But Smitty, the Bengals have been hurting. Browning, not the guy. I've said this a couple of times to some of the Boom family, but Browning looks like the kid back in the day that never really wanted to play sports, but like his parents made him play. And he just kind of wanted to mess up all the time just so he didn't have to play no more, and the coach would bench him. So like he would just, make mistakes, like get me off the team. So now they're going to plug in Gentleman Joe. Do you think with the addition of Joe Flacco, that is going to help Jamar Chase, T. Higgins? Do you think that's going to this? Do you think this trade in any way is going to help that Cincinnati Bengals team, fantasy football wise, at all?
I got mixed emotions about this trade because first things first, Joe Flacco's not a bad quarterback. He actually got the ball to his guys in Cleveland, but the way Cleveland's offense was set up wasn't catered for him or to him or anything like that. And you can say age, you can say all these other parameters, but it's run the football defense. That's what that squad was. Now he goes to Cincinnati, which in my opinion is an even worse place for him to be because the first of all, let's go ahead and get this. You know why Joe Burrow got hurt, right? Because that
Oof.
line can't stop
That
a
offensive
tricycle.
line is ridiculously
Joe
terrible.
has ran for his life ever since he's been in the NFL, and they fail to address that issue, and
Right.
and it hurts Joe literally, physically, and play wise. It's gonna hurt him, and I don't see it's not good for Flacco. I just hope he doesn't get hurt. I mean, he's got two great receivers in Jamar Chase and T Higgins. He's got weapons on that offense, but your weapons are nothing if you've got five defenders in the backfield. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen, you know.
This,
And Chase Brown can't really do much back there running the football.
no.
I mean, it'll help, but I think it's like you said before we came on the air. It's like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. I don't think it's going to help Joe or the team. I think Joe will get some points. He'll do better than Browning, which that was perfectly put. And that was perfect. I read that text and cried, man. I laughed so daggum hard because it's so true. But
What was
it
the
is.
what
But
was this sound clip? The sound clip was like he's like, "Why didn't you guys cut me or something?" Was I know there was a sound clip of him after he threw a touchdown like a couple weeks ago, whatever, and he like threw his helmet and he yelled at
yes,
the camera, "Why didn't you guys cut me?"
that
Like
was funny.
again, I mean, it's just again, it's like he doesn't really want to play football. He just,
Right.
guys, get me out of here. I'm throwing to the other team, but you still keep putting me in. So, but yeah, man, you're right. I mean, Joe Flacco, man, not known for wheels. Yeah, because you can't get one of them little scoots out there, the little old man scooters. So he ain't gonna be able to have one of those to get away from the offensive line.
Right.
If you give him time, if they can scheme an extra blocker, throw a couple of tight ends in there, get a halfback, fullback, somebody get a back of something, and throw some extra blocks. And if you can give Flacco 3 to 4 seconds and get Chase down the field or get T Higgins, he can chuck it up and get it down there to him. So I think at first this may help. It's going to be interesting. The play calling, learning, the plays. I wonder if they're going to put him right in this week. I haven't heard anything yet. They may play Browning this week and then Joe the following week. So we'll see how that progresses. But fantasy football wise, I mean, Joe Flacco, week 1 had a little over 14 points, but then 9 points, 4 points, 3 points. He just kind of look. Father Time is undefeated. So and on a bad Browns team that didn't have much of an offense to help him out, it definitely showed. But now he's got some offensive weapons. But yeah, man, he's got an Achilles heel there with that offensive line. So 1-2 throw. If he doesn't do that, you better put some bubble wrap around him. I don't know what you got to do, man, because please don't hurt Joe. He's a national treasure, Mr. Flacco. But man, it was an interesting move for Cincinnati. Look, I know you need a quarterback, but out of 32 teams, you got one, and it was in your division, and you got Joe Flacco. Guys, let me know what you think. Drop us a comment here. I know we're making fun of him and we're getting him killed, but he's still an NFL quarterback.
Right.
We're over here sitting here talking on microphones. So
Definitely.
shout out Joe Flacco, man. It's all love. I hope you do because I have Jamar Chase in one of my leagues. So I'm really, really hoping you can do something with him better than Browning. So, but it was just a very interesting news to come across. So, yeah, the Cleveland Browns have now shed a bunch of quarterbacks. So Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, and Watson. So like their quarterback room just got a little smaller. So it's interesting to see. So, but now we're gonna get into our studs. So last week, my man Shannon, who was your stud of the week in fantasy football?
I hate to sound like a broken record. I really do. But for the daggum fourth week, in 5 weeks, I've had two Colts. And this week, it's going to be the same Colt I had 4 times out of the week, it is Jonathan Taylor. That man, okay. Can I just ask you a question right here, man?
Go for it.
Is he the best running back in the league?
He's definitely in the running for MVP because he's got those Colts on a whole nother level. Daniel Jones is playing really well, but I think Daniel Jones doesn't do what he's doing now without Taylor. So I have CMC just ahead of him because CMC is first in fantasy football points. He's 124. Taylor's 121. So they're neck and neck. But look what CMC is doing for a depleted San Francisco 49ers team. So, when you talk about the best of the best, Taylor, he's like 1B. CMC's 1A right now. Taylor 1B. He's definitely having, and both of those guys, MVP seasons. Both of them should be MVPs on your fantasy football league because they are just a monster. I mean, he only had 66 yards, but 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
Very efficient game, especially with a good passing game. So they're also passing the ball too, but it's close. He's 1B. CMC and him right now in line for MVP.
Oh, yeah. But 4th time in 5 weeks. Jonathan
Crazy.
Taylor, man, keep it going. Feed that man the ball.
Cool. Who else you got?
Well, here's the thing. Now, the last week, I said I was going to have to scramble at the quarterback position because Lamar Jackson got hurt. Jordan Love on a bye. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I could have had, and then I'm going to talk about what I got. I went for C.J. Stroud, and then I got cold feet and let him go. And look at the game he had.
He
had a monster of a game.
Best game of the season.
On that depleted Ravens defense. But it didn't look so bad because Justin Fields came through 29.2 points, 283 yards, 2 touchdowns. And yes, it was trash time. But I will take it because he filled in perfectly for both of my quarterbacks being done. So Justin Fields, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I don't know when you're going to get a win in real football, but you got to win for me. And that should count for something.
It does, because you know what? A touchdown in fantasy football, whether it's trash time or not, still counts. So take it and run with it. Yeah, you want to see the Jets do better, but the Jets keep jetting. So it's going to be a long season for them. Really disappointed in that defense right now. Jets defense looks horrendous, especially with a defensive-minded coach coming over to be playing like that. Definitely embarrassing. But Justin Fields, everywhere he's gone, he's produced. He has talent. Man, I don't know what it is. Just the team around him stinks.
Is it a utilization problem?
I don't know, man.
Personnel? Because, once again, we have this whole thing of, Baker Mayfield and Danny Dimes and Sam Darnold and all those guys going to new places and actually playing good football. Like, they left bad predicaments where they were beforehand. They left bad teams or teams that couldn't utilize them, and then they go somewhere else, and everybody's sitting back here like, what were y'all thinking by letting these guys go? Why did you do this?
Right.
And it's a conundrum. It's one of those things that we will never know. But I do know this. It's got something to do with coaching, and it's got something to do with the front office. So that's the main thing to me.
Well, to me, you look at Justin Fields last year. He was on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had a good defense, but they did not utilize Justin Fields correctly. They have a really so-so offensive coordinator and didn't have a lot of offensive weapons. So now he comes over to the Jets, where they have some offensive weapons. He has a run game. He has Garrett Wilson and some other guys that he can throw the ball to. Offensive line's a little shaky, but when your defense gives up 40-plus points a game, And they're supposed. I mean, Sauce Gardner's supposed to be this lockdown dude, and he ain't locking nothing down.
Nothing.
Not even nothing. So they got a bunch of zip ties out there, and you can break through a zip tie. So
Yeah.
terrible. But great shout out, man. Yeah, Justin Fields, because he's a dual threat quarterback, and I think he's going to continue to produce, and I hope he does, because he deserves some love. Because everywhere he's gone, he's kind of been beat up, but all he does is perform. It's just like he can't help that a lot of the other facets around him stink. So, but let me give you my stud of the week, who has done nothing but impressed the hell out of everybody in the league. This guy is becoming an absolute superstar. Emeka Egbuka has become him. Dude, 163 yards, crazy touchdown, over 30 points. He has saved my season in a couple of my leagues, because I have him in a couple of my leagues, and you get those point bumps, when you go over a certain amount of yards, 150 yards. So he has such a rapport with Baker Mayfield, who also should be in the MVP conversation. Again, another guy that does not get enough love for what he's doing in Tampa Bay. You lose your number one. You didn't have Godwin to start the season. You just lost Bucky Irving, your number one running back, to continue to win. And in that game, let's talk about that game this weekend, man. That Bucks-Seahawks game. First of all, the throwback unis, which I got my throwback on today. Today, I'm feeling very throwback today. I love the throwback unis. I love the ice cream, and I love the Seattle Seahawks. Got the Hartford Whalers joint on. I like it. That game was exciting and a lot of fun to watch. Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield duke it out back and forth, and then just at the end of the game, Darnold makes one mistake, and it cost him. I wanted that thing to go to overtime. I wanted it to keep going, man, because it was an unbelievable game. It was just a lot of fun to watch. But Emeka Egbuka, dude, he's third in fantasy points. Rookie. Third in fantasy points. He's right behind Puka Nacua, who is blowing everybody out of the water. I still think he's the best wide receiver in the NFL.
I agree.
Give him the chip right now. He's got a quarterback, which helps, but that man catches everything. And then St. Brown, Amon-Ra, the sun god, he's number 2 at about 112 points. So Emeka Egbuka is right behind those two guys. Phenomenal season. Dude, I can't even say anything. He is my stud of the week. Very impressed. So, but him and Baker have something really, really special going on there in Tampa Bay.
If you told me that Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold were going to have a quarterback duel for the ages, I'd have laughed at you. I'd have been like, what?
Drug test. Let's go. We got to test you here.
But it was incredible. That was
awesome.
That was probably one of the most, fun games that we've had with a quarterback duel. That's Marino and the Jets game in I think I want to say 86. I was listening to a podcast today, and they had where Dan Marino was going against one of the Jets quarterbacks at that time, and they were going.
I think it was O'Brien.
Yes.
Neil. Yep.
Yes, that was that. They were calling that game that Sam.
It was
Darnold
just back and forth, and again great. With the throwback jerseys, I think added the spice to it, dude. It was a perfect backdrop. Some of the plays were just absolutely ridiculous on both. Jackson Smith and Jigba, another one.
Yes.
DK leaves. He steps into the number one role like nothing and has shown out and shown up. He makes some unbelievable catches too. So, yeah, man, shout out. That game was phenomenal. So,
beautiful game. Beautiful.
And we got a lot of things right this weekend. We had some wins. We got a lot of things right. But you know what? I know you've eaten some crow before. You were wrong a little while ago, where you had to eat some crow. But you know what? Sometimes, we are so wrong. And I was so wrong on a couple of things last week. It was terrible. This is the look I had staring at my fantasy football, watching guys blow up who I put down. So let's talk about David Njoku. I said Bencham Fanning, the tight end rookie, was coming up. I thought Njoku wasn't going to do anything. They were overseas. I didn't think the Cleveland offense was going to kind of do much of anything. David Njoku, 67 yards, 1 TD, a little over 18 point, almost 19 points in fantasy football for a tight end is great. So, man, I was wrong about that. I was so wrong about David Njoku. He still is a viable tight end, and he showed me up last week, and he made me eat a little bit of crow there. So throw a little hot sauce on it. I'm good. And then Jamar Chase. I had you for dead. Unfortunately, Browning back there didn't have a lot of confidence in him. Didn't have a lot of confidence in Chase coming off a weak game. 6 catches, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, a little over 29 points. I was so wrong. I'm sorry, Jamar. I have you on one of my leagues. I will never do that again, man. Please forgive me for downing your skills. I mean, you can't blame me. Your offensive line is terrible. You got a 7-Eleven manager at your quarterback who just does not want to play football at all. You got to give me a little bit here, but I will eat. I'm going to eat some crow. I put some hot sauce on that too and eat it up, man. So I was so wrong on those last week. And I know, Smitty, you got anything you were wrong about last week?
I was wrong about my sleepers. I had Drake May being a sleeper quarterback playing the Buffalo Bills. Now, mind you, the New England Patriots got the win. I think that Drake May was focused on winning this football game more than he was helping you guys win your fantasy football games, and that's okay. But this is a fantasy football podcast, so I was wrong for saying he was going to be a sleeper because he did the opposite. He would sleep. So it was round about 14 points that he got. Thankfully, I played against him, and he got his butt kicked, and I was able to get the win. So I was cool with that. And this is the reason why I always go against the NFC West. Because Kenneth Walker III, 9.6 points. Are you dadgum serious? I'm sitting here the whole time like, hey, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be okay. No. But to the credit, wonderful passing game and passing expose between Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, which is weird to say. We come back from the time machine to tell me and you from 5 years ago that this was going to happen, and we laughed.
I placed that bet.
We were like, no, there's no way. Are you talking about the same Baker Mayfield that didn't do well in Carolina and let the Browns quit on the Browns, went to Carolina, did worse than that? And you talking about the same Sam Darnold that went to Carolina yet again, and the same thing happened to him? Are you talking about the same guy? Yes, we are. So, Kenneth Walker III, thanks,
don't look the
but
same.
no thanks.
Yep. Yeah, and Charbonnet is tough. I mean, that's why that dual threat there, and Charbonnet being hurt, but Kenneth Walker, he's got talent, and every once in a while he'll bust one, and then he disappears, and then all of a sudden Charbonnet gets the touchdown. So I mean, I like a little cheese with my Charbonnet, but it's tough. It's almost like trusting a New England Patriots running back. You almost can't trust them. I think that's Seattle. Over there on the west side, you can't trust those Seattle running backs because you don't know who's really going to be the big bopper that day. So, but you know what? We also had something else this week. History is funny. We talked about throwback, but we're only going to go back a week. So we're not throwing it back too far. We're only going to go back a little bit. And we blasted somebody for performing a faux pas in the NFL, which was hold on to the ball before you cross the goal line. And I know a lot of people are blowing this guy up, and I hate doing it, but I got to do it. I'm sorry. 72-yard fumble. Amari DiMarcado, I don't know. You get the call. A 72-yard. He had a phenomenal run. And I know everybody, since James Conner's been out, and I know everybody that had started this kid As soon as he broke out and was running for the end zone, everybody on their fantasy team that had this kid was probably jumping up and screaming like they'd won something. And then you drop the ball at the goal line. And this just happened the week before. So I don't know what to do, guys. Please, NFL players, whether you're a running back, wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, hold on to the football. Do what Barry Sanders used to do. Do what Walter Payton used to do. Hold the ball, cross the goal line, go over and give it to the ref, and then go act like you've been there before. Bonehead play of the week. I'm sorry to beat you up, Mr. DeMarcado, but man. And then a little news on that, too. Of course, a lot of people have seen the interaction on the sideline between Coach Jonathan Gannon and DeMarcado. There was a little bit of a heated exchange there, which to me, I think that was a little much. I'm sure this guy felt bad enough as it is. He literally cost his team the game. Tennessee ends up winning that game for their first win of the year. So I'm sure he felt horrible as it is. But for you to come over and kind of punch that man in the chest and give him some shit about it, bad for him. But he's paying up for it big time. $100,000 fined Jonathan Gannon. So I'm actually surprised he wasn't suspended or even worse, fired. Because again, guys, this is sports. These are real men. You know, you can knock somebody in private. Look, if you wanted to do something in the locker room and have it out with them in private, but you can't do stuff in front of the cameras, man. Come on, man. That's grown man. You can't do that. So, but our bonehead play of the week, history repeats itself, which is nuts, man. I don't even know what to do with that because it happened already last week. So, man, I don't know what to do. But week 5 was a really weird week, man, and we're still going to talk about it a little bit before we get into week 6 here, because week 5 we had some blowouts in this week, man. We had some really bad NFL games. Colts 40, Raiders 6. Raiders look horrendous. Texans 44, Ravens 10. Ravens, woo! Ravens fans, I live here in near the DMV, and right now Ravens fans are befuddled. They just don't know what to do. That Ravens defense is non-existent.
Stinks.
Yep.
Stinks.
I don't even know. Ray Lewis and Ed Reed ain't walking through that door.
Yeah, T-Sizzle ain't walking through there.
No. I don't think they want to. They oh man, we staying away right now.
Absolutely.
Commanders 27, Chargers. Chargers doing Charger things again here. They start off hot and then just. And this is where Herbert is a little overrated. But anyway,
we gotta ask that question. I mean, for real, it's just the Chargers from 3 weeks ago and the Chargers now. Do you want that Charger squad from then, or do you want this Charger squad now? And I know the answer to that question.
Exactly. Yeah, they got some stuff to make up for. And then we got the Cowboys beating up on them Jets. Cowboys. You know, again, I can eat a little crow with this too, and it's hard wearing this Giants. I got my throwback Lawrence Taylor jersey on right now, so it's a little rough to speak well and politely about the Cowboys. Dak's playing good football. He's up there, MVP conversation. That team is playing well. You would have thought with the whole drama before the season started, with trading and this and that, and down 5 linemen. I mean, I think 4 of their 5 starting linemen were out of this game.
Yeah.
And they came back and whooped the Jets 37-22. And it wasn't even that close. It was worse than that. It was like garbage time TD kind of deal. Mm-hmm. So, man. All right. So in fantasy football, you know, we just watched 4 teams really get blown out. Do you trust any of these 4 teams, or at least give me one of these 4? Do you think that can make that can bounce back from getting blown out, and that will continue their offensive players to be fantasy relevant?
Well, the Ravens, you can go ahead and mark them out until Lamar Jackson comes back. That's not going to happen with Cooper Rush. The Raiders, Geno Smith has just decided he's going to throw the ball to the other team. He's got
Wow.
9 interceptions, and he leads the league in interceptions
Yeah.
this year. And so mark them out. And the Jets have yet to win, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Like I said in the beginning of the show, Justin Fields handled biz fantasy wise, but as far as wins wise, Aaron Glenn has been one of the most unprepared coaches in the NFL, and it's really sad, and I hate to say that because I mean, from where he came from, with the Lions and Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson and him, they were supposed to be this super team of coaches right here, and of course, the band breaks up, what I'm saying, because of course, with that happening, these guys are going to get looked at for head coaching gigs, and Ben Johnson is actually not doing bad in Chicago, and then the Jets are just definitely being what the Jets are. They've yet to win.
Right. Oh shit! I hit you.
I hate it because wow. I mean, you don't see that. So I say by default, it's got to be the Chargers by default, and I don't really have a lot of faith in them.
And I can agree with that too. There's I mean, I don't know what's going on with Geno Smith. 4,000 yards last year, and all of a sudden he got the yips and forgot how to play football. I mean, I know they don't have a lot of stud running wide receivers there in Oakland or in Oakland. I keep saying Oakland because I'm throwing back, so I'm thinking
too.
Oakland here.
Me too.
Man, but you got Genty. I know Bowers was out too, but man, I would have thought there would have been more. Carroll struggling.
And you hear Pete Carroll. You've got this whole buzz of Pete Carroll the whole time of how well he is here. Let's just be honest. Pete Carroll has to wear the whole thing around, wear that whole thing on his head of why he didn't hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl. They wanted Russ to be the hero of the Super Bowl and didn't do what worked. So that's another thing also too with this Raiders squad here, because not saying that Ashton Genty has to carry the load of the offense, but when you know that you don't have the guys receiving the football like you have, why not run the football? And the defense now, that's another thing. They're not able to get to the quarterback. And you've got Max Crosby over there, who's supposed to be the stud pass rusher, and he is. But
he is.
When you key on that man every single time, who else is going to make plays? And it seems like nobody's making plays. So yeah.
Well, when your defense is on the field all the time, you get a little tired. So Ravens, until Lamar comes back, they're not utilizing Derrick Henry. I mean.
No.
They had one of the best run games in the NFL last year, and they're not using Derrick Henry at all. He's completely fallen off the map. He only had like 9 points last week. Jets. Man, Glenn is learning that there's a big difference from being a coordinator to a head coach, and that happens a lot in the NFL. You see that with some of these coordinators coming over. Most fail out of the ones that succeed. I mean, there's not a lot that totally succeed as coordinators. They end up going back to being coordinators because it's a completely different animal when you are the chief cheese there, and you got to take care of the whole team, and you can't focus on one aspect of the game. You got to focus on everything. So I'll give him a little bit of a learning curve right now because, again, this is his first head coaching gig, so I'm not going to beat him up too much. But I am very disappointed in how that Jets defense is playing. He's got to get them back. If anything, get your offensive coordinator to just focus on the offense, and you go help with that defense. Something. So definitely is the Chargers. I think the Chargers still have weapons. It's going to be tough because another IR hit right now. We'll talk about that too. Omarion Hampton, the good rookie. he took the hit here. He's going to be on IR. I'll go over some guys you could probably pick up here. I'll talk about that maybe in the sleepers.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, you have a sketchy running game. You still have great wide receivers, but the Chargers, they need to step it up, man, because they've had some bad losses here
Yeah.
the last couple of weeks after starting fast. So I'll give you that. I agree with you. Chargers are at least the ones of the guys that got blown out that you could at least pencil in for the rest of the season to at least be in the mix and helping your fantasy football teams, guys. So man, it was crazy week here, but
Yeah.
I'm tired of looking back, but at the same time, we are gonna go way back. We're gonna go back back into time. I was feeling again nostalgic. Been doing a lot of that here lately. The older I get, and nostalgia becomes a little more fun than the new. But had got me thinking too. Um, when if some of these historic NFL performances that happened years ago happened now with the way fantasy football is today? Because fantasy football has been around for a long time, but not like what it is today. So I pulled 4 historic NFL performances, and I kind of wanted to see where they would rank, in fantasy football. And I want to kind of get your thoughts on it, Smitty. And first one I'm going to start off with is my man, Mr. Steve Young, with his performance in Super Bowl 29, 325 yards in the air, 49 rush yards, and 6 touchdowns. If you quantify that right now, that's about almost 42 points in fantasy football right now. That was a heck of a game. Him, Jerry Rice, historic combination. I know it was a Super Bowl, but it was a blowout. They killed the Chargers in that game, but 6 touchdowns in a game for a quarterback right now is not unheard of. But they didn't have mercy rule back then. They didn't have hurt feelings back then. You ran the score up because you could do it and you could score, and that's what you did. So Steve Young, 1995, Super Bowl 29, historic performance. Fantasy football wise, 42 points, which would have been crazy. So the next one I got, one of my all-time favorites. I still think he's the greatest running back of all time. My man, Sweetness, Mr. Walter Payton. I love him. I wore a bandana back in the day, or a headband, because I wanted to be like him. I actually had, as a Giants fan, I had a Sweetness Chicago Bears jersey because I loved Walter Payton. Everything about him, he's poetry in motion. Guys, if you have not seen some of Walter Payton's run, please Google it. Do whatever you got to do. Ask AI to show you something, whatever you got. But in 1977, versus the Vikings, he had 275 yards rushing and a touchdown. He only had 1 touchdown, but I had a touchdown. Right now that would translate into about 33 and a half points in just standard leagues. I'm not looking at like the big bonuses and all that stuff. That it would be higher than that, but a little over 33 points. But a historic performance from one of the greatest running backs of all time. And I know the biggest regret Mike Ditka ever had was not giving Walter Payton the football in that Bears win. The 85 Chicago Bears, one of the greatest teams in NFL history. One hiccup, losing against the Dolphins. They had 1 loss that year. That Monsters of the Midway defense was ridiculous. Singletary, Dent, all those guys. But man, Jim McMahon. But Walter Payton, guys, one of my all-time favorite players. Rest in peace, Mr. Payton. But man, guys, Google him. He was phenomenal. But a little over 33 points, 275 yards. People would go bananas. We just had Uncle Rico Daddle just had 200 yards. So, coming out of the weekend. wide receiver. We're going to go way back. One of my favorite nicknames, Mr. Willie Flipper Anderson for the Los Angeles Rams. And yes, guys, this was before high definition television. This goes down as one of the greatest wide receiver performances of all time. 15 receptions, 336 yards, and a touchdown. Say that again. He had 15 catches for 336 yards. That is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think anything like that can happen. I mean, that's some high school stuff. Like, you're in Nebraska somewhere and you got the big kid that plays both sides of the ball, out there and runs up and down the field because he's a man amongst boys. And that's what Mr. Willie Flipper Anderson was back in 1989 versus the New Orleans Saints. If that was today, he'd have over 70 points, full PPR. I mean, that is bananas. 336 yards receiving. Crazy. And to round out our tight ends, man, this guy is a little more modern, but still a throwback. We got to pull in the Gronk, Mr. Rob Gronkowski. He won me a championship one year when he first came out in 2014. That year, I had Gronk on my team, this unknown tight end, and he helped me to a fantasy football championship. And 2014 against the Bears, had 131 yards, two touchdowns, a little over 37 points. So the Gronk had a magnificent performance, and just, we love that kind of stuff. So those are my throwback performances that I was thinking about here. Now, the question I posed to you, Mr. Shannon, if you had to go in the Wayback Machine and fantasy football was still around, and you had the first pick in the draft, any era, who would be your throwback pick? Number one, I'm picking him. No questions asked.
Easy money. Walter Payton. Easy money.
Damn, that was mine too, man. No, I got you. No, yeah.
We had this talk about the running game and the running back being so utilized in fantasy football.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you, though. The homer in me wanted to say Steve Young wanted to. And that was the same year he won MVP.
Yep.
As well, too. If I'm not mistaken, that was the same year that he won MVP.
Yep.
And so I would be remiss to not talk about one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time is Steve Young as a 49ers fan. But house money, if I'm betting with house money and I'm talking about I want to have somebody go out there and handle biz, and you give me Walter Payton any day of the week, I'm going to take that man and run with it, definitely.
I like that. That's a great pick. Well, since you got my guy, and I thought about this a lot because there were so many phenomenal players. You talk about a little more modern and like a Randy Moss. You look at a Barry Sanders, who I don't know if he'd get you as many points nowadays because he ran backwards more because that offensive line for the Lions was so bad. He would gain 3 yards, but he would run 50 yards just to gain 3 yards. So I don't think that would pick him. But if I had to go and grab somebody that I'm thinking of, if I had a number one pick, I'd probably have to pick Jim Brown. Again, talk about the running back position, a complete monster at what he did. Throwback, just ran angry, ran people over, ran through people. He was, the benchmark for what running backs want to be. And, off the field, of course, all the great things that he did. He quit football very, very early, kind of a la Barry Sanders. He ended up kind of walking away from football. He was doing things off the field, and, he was doing movies and then that kind of stuff. Because back then, NFL players didn't get paid nothing. You got squadoosh. No matter how good you were, you had to work in the offseason. So he was making more money doing stuff off the field than he was on. But I like your first pick, Walter. That's a great pick, man. But yeah, I have to go Jim Brown if I had the first pick in the throwback fantasy football draft. So, but I like that, man. I love kind of thinking back here. Just it makes the, the modern day a little more exciting. If you know where you've been, you know where you're going. So, um, I like that. I appreciate that. Great history lesson, kids. Again, don't just look at the modern stuff. Take a look back, man. Look at some of those old NFL films. Look at some of the black and white films. There are some great NFL players back then. You look at Fran Tarkenton. The first
That was
real,
mine. That was mine. I
the
take him at
first
fantasy
real
quarterback.
dual threat quarterback. If you had to pick him, I would throw him on there. I love Gale Sayers too. You got to throw him
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
Huge fan, of course, Joe Montana. You can't
Of
forget
course.
that. You got to
Of
throw him
course.
on there too. So I mean, Lynn Swan. I love my throwback guys here, man. So that's great to talk about that here. I appreciate you guys joining, but let me know what y'all think. Drop us a line, man. Drop us a comment. Who is your all-time number one fantasy football pick? Whether it's modern, whether it's throwback, let us know who you got. So I'd like to hear from y'all. But now we're going to get into the part of the show everybody wants to hear because we're getting into week 6 here, man. And I'm excited for week 6. Again, I'm coming off a good week. Won 6 out of 7 leagues here. I'm feeling some motive. I'm feeling like the momentum's going my way. I kind of got my lineup set up. I'm not hitting the waiver wire as hard this week. I'm really hitting the waiver wire more to like steal players from other people so they don't get them.
Same.
I'm playing that. You got to play that game, guys. Don't think you don't need somebody. Look at your teams. If you're stacked, you're stacked. But if you're ahead of somebody in the waiver wire, put that waiver wire request in because if you can snag a player from someone getting them, do it because there's no love lost in fantasy football. You got to play the game here. So let's do our starts and sits, man. So, Smitty, let's go over who are we starting this week, man?
All right. So at quarterback, go ahead and put Matthew Stafford in against the Baltimore Ravens. I think that it'll be a surgical procedure. Paging Dr. Stafford. We're
Woo.
about to do surgery. Let's go ahead and be surgical with Puka Nakua, with
Right.
Devontae Adams, with the man in the backfield that just ripped it up in the backfield last week. Go ahead and put them in there. Let Matthew Stafford go ahead and get this Ravens defense split
Mm.
open
Oh,
and
it's going
ready
to be
for
ugly.
surgery.
Oof.
Get them going. And
Uh,
in the running game, put Josh Jacobson against the Cincinnati Bengals
I like
because they're
that.
fresh off of a bye week, fresh legs. The Bengals can't stop a tricycle on defense. So, and let alone the running game, go ahead and put Josh
I like
Jacobs
it.
in there. Let Josh Jacobs handle biz. He come off of a 20-point game. If I'm not mistaken, it was about 25, 28 points 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So let him go ahead and handle biz. And at the wide receiver spot, he was a former 49er. Give me Debo Samuel against the Dadgum Bears. I think Debo is going to do a good job at that receiver spot. With Jaden Daniels being back, with Scary Terry still injured, I think Debo has stepped in
Mm-hmm.
as well for being a number one receiver, which was what he was doing in San Francisco. So put Debo Samuel in at receiver. And at the tight end spot, put Dallas Goddard against those New York Giants. Now, I heard something really hilarious about the Philadelphia Eagles. It seems like Nick Sirianni is just listening to the crowd. What do you want to do? We're going to pass the ball this week because everyone says, let Jaden Daniels pass the ball. Let him pass the ball. I really think that he's playing for fantasy football commissioners like you and me. I think he's playing for owners like you and me.
I hope so.
I think that's what it is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's getting away from winning games, i.e. last week. He's getting away from that, but he's getting fantasy owners like you and me points. And that's great. So don't be shy. Go ahead and put in Goddard against the Giants. Those are my starts for this week.
I like it. And guys, if you have Puka Nakua on your squad, man, be prepared. He's going to go bananas. If you're going against Puka Nakua, good luck because Matthew Stafford against those Ravens is going to eat.
Oh, it's
And
surgery.
Puka, he might get Willie Flipper Anderson's record this weekend. So I don't know. He might crack. I think he's going to at least has a shot to crack 200 against that Ravens defense.
I really
So
think so.
be prepared, guys. Be prepared. All right, so let's go. Myself here. My starts. My man Cam Ward didn't look bad last week. Threw the football, got a good win. I think that's when you talk about a rookie, his moment. That win, getting the first one. I think that's really helping his confidence, and he's going against the Raiders too,
Oh
a
yeah.
bad football team. So I could see that Tennessee Titans defense having a field day with G Steak Gino. He doesn't look the same as last year. So I think they're going to eat. I think they're going to have cheesesteak all weekend. But Cam Ward, guys, go ahead and start him. I think he has his best fantasy football game this weekend. And then we're going to go. Man, it hurts my body. As a Giants fan, close your eyes, Giants fans. Javonte Williams, man, for the Dallas Cowboys. He has been showing up and showing out. He's going against the Carolina Panthers. Sorry, podcast Minnie. I know you do the Cat Cave podcast there, and you talk about the Carolina Panthers. Sometimes their defense shows up. Sometimes they don't really show up. And you're going against again, hurts me to say it, the number one offense in the NFL right now, which is the Dallas Cowboys. So Javonte Williams has taken that number one running back position and has gone bananas with it, man. He is doing a phenomenal job scoring touchdowns, getting timely runs. Give me him against Carolina. I think he is due for another big game. And then to piggyback off of Cam Ward, Calvin Ridley finally showed up to the party last week, having a really, really good game. He had 131 yards, 18 points. Didn't find the end zone, but still got over 18 points. I think him and Cam Ward are clicking. Last game showed it. So I'm hoping that spills over against a bad Raiders team. So I think Ward to Ridley is going to eat this weekend. I see Calvin getting his first touchdown of the year against the Raiders. At the Raiders. And AJ Barner has been a breath of fresh air there for the Seattle Seahawks. You have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is now the clear-cut number one there in Seattle, and he's going crazy. But the second right now, AJ Barner has had himself a week. He had 24 points last week, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns. So Sam Darnold found himself a safety valve. And when you have a tight end that you can count on, dude, that's money in the bank. So give me Barner against the Jags. Jags coming off a big win, but they just lost their tight end. Some sketchy plays and some sloppy plays in that Jags game. I don't know how they won. The Chiefs kind of gave it away. I mean, Trevor Lawrence fumbling on the 1 yard line, trying to go over for the touchdown. You have 2 able running backs there. You have Brian Thomas Jr., and you decide to do that, sneak the ball over the goal line like it's not going to get hit out of your hands. Sorry. Again, football 101, guys. And then on the last play of the game, stumbling, bumbling, rumbling, he falls down, trips over himself. The 1 yard line tripped him twice. I mean, I don't know how the Chiefs didn't tackle him because he essentially tackled himself twice.
Yes.
And still managed to score a touchdown. So I kind of blame that game on the Chiefs. They laid a little bit of a stinker. Patrick Mahomes with that 99-yard touchdown interception was crazy. That was a pick 6 plus. You get 99 yards. So,
wow.
But Jags, I don't know how you won that football game here.
They're 4-1. They're 4-1,
Yeah, this
man.
is bizarro world. We got the Colts are up there. We got the Jaguars. The San Francisco 49ers are playing with guys out of the stands. They're up and they're in
Yes.
first place. So yeah, I don't know, man. We're in bizarre world. The Ravens are 1-4.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of madness. I love it. This is
Craziness.
why we play the game because I don't care what it is in the beginning of the season, what it looks like on paper. When the rubber hits the road, you don't know what you're going to get. We've had a very entertaining season so far this time. So,
Absolutely.
and then who we got for your sits, man? Let's see who is Smitty sitting this week.
All right. Do not play Caleb Williams against the Washington Commanders. Don't
Wow.
do it. I, and it is not because, of course, it's not because Caleb Williams can't play game
Right.
football. It's not like that. But I think that Washington might have a little something for Caleb Williams. That's more of what it is. I don't expect a spectacular game against the Washington Commanders, but I just don't see Caleb just going off the charts like he has been for the past couple of weeks. So do not play Caleb Williams against the Washington Commanders /
Gotcha.
Redskins. So don't play him. Don't play him. And Quinn Shaw Judikins. Don't play him against
Wow. That's a big
Pittsburgh.
one, man.
Don't play him against Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's defense might have a little something for him. And
Ooh.
also to upstart Dylan Gabriel at the quarterback position. Upstart Dylan Gabriel. It is going to be a little difficult for him, I believe, if they lean on him a little too much. You know how it goes. If the pass game can't get going, they're going to have to utilize some type of offense. I don't see him getting really far against this Pittsburgh defense, so do not play Quinshaw Judikins
Right.
against Pittsburgh. Let him sit.
Interesting.
Let him sit,
Interesting.
for the week. Let him sit. Let him do that. Chris Olave, do not play him
Wow.
against the New England Patriots. Do not play him against that because I feel like their corner, they just got him back from injury. I think he's ready to cover. I think he is. Spencer Rattler, now I will say this. Spencer Rattler's been putting up some points. He's been finding his receivers. Not a bad quarterback at all. But Lord have mercy. It's the daggum New Orleans Saints. So do not play Chris Olave this week. And don't play Theo Johnson against the New York Football Giants. I really don't think they're going to be looking at that man at all. I really don't think they're going to because Lord have mercy with the surgical work that will be put in this week. I doubt it. So those are my sits for this week.
I like that. The Saints one hurts because I know it is the Aints, but the Giants got beat pretty bad against them, and I'm surprised we still have a head coach. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was painful. That was painful. All right, so we're gonna get into my sits here. My sits, I got to sit Justin Fields. I know he had a great game, fantasy football wise. He had some garbage points, but now he's going against that Denver Broncos
Ain't
defense.
no way. Ain't no
That
way.
Denver's Bronco defense has going to have something for him. They're going to spy him. They are going to make sure that he does not get out of that backfield. So Denver and that defense is going to have something for the Jets. I think the Jets go 0-5, 6, 7. They're going to keep going. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a defeated season for them or what. Man, and I hate saying this, dude, but the king may be dead. Derrick Henry, I can't start him against the Rams. Rams defense is good. The Rams are going to just throw the ball in the air. They're going to be up by so much. I won't be able to. Why would you start it? Because they're not going to have a run game.
No.
They're going to be down. They're going to be down 24-0 like in the first quarter. So it's going to be tough to start Derrick Henry, guys. If you got somebody else, please do it. Please do it. And of course, since I'm not starting Justin Fields, I can't start Garrett Wilson. They got some lockdown corners and some safeties back there. They're going to have something for Wilson. The Jets are going to have a really, really rough week against Denver. I got to sit him. And then, of course, because the Ravens are not the Ravens of old, Mark Andrews, I can't start him against the Rams because I think that Rams defense is too good. They're going to shut him down. It is going to be an ugly game. So my sits got to have Mark Andrews sitting there. So those are my sits. So let's get into, man. Of course, we like to sleep. We're getting towards the end of the show here, so we gotta do a little nap time. I'm getting a little tired here too. I need a little afternoon nap. So, man, Mr. Smitty, who are you sleeping on?
Michael Penix Jr. against the Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
The Bills defense. Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Question
It's
marks.
been rough
Question
watching
marks.
this Bills defense. The Bills are still one of the top teams in the AFC, and God knows it ain't because of defense. So I think that Michael Penix Jr. will be a sleeper pickup for this week. So hey,
No.
think about it, y'all. Just think about it. Enrico Dowdle versus his old squad, the daggum Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
Who knows you like
Uncle Rico.
yeah, who knows you? Like the guy who used to play for you. So hey Rico, hey, you had 200 yards, over 200 yards rushing last week against a Miami defense that was not so great. And let's just be honest too, Dallas defense not good either. So hey, go ahead and run that ball with Rico Dowdle against those Dallas Cowboys and Calvin Ridley versus the Vegas Raiders.
I
We
like
were
it. Don't
high
sleep on
on
him.
Cam Ward. And if Cam Ward is going to have any type of success in the passing game, it's got to be at the expense of Calvin Ridley. So
Right.
definitely. And plus, we already talked about it as Las Vegas Raiders defense stinks.
Yes.
They need to take a page from the Las Vegas Aces and their defense in the WNBA Finals.
I
By
like
the
that.
way, spoiler alert right there. I had
Yep.
a few reels about the WNBA on Boom Broadcasting this week.
And you do a great job with that too, guys. Got to check him out. Quick Hits Podcast Mini, man. Them
Definitely
Aces, the
appreciate that.
Aces look good right now. I think they're
They
gonna get that
sure do.
chip.
I don't think it'll be a sweep. I don't think it will be a sweep, but I might be reconsidering 6 games as the outcome. But last but not least, Evan Ingram versus the New York Jets.
Oof.
I have drafted Evan Ingram over the past 2 times, and I've been very, very disappointed both times. But I don't think this week you'll be disappointed if you decide to plug Evan Ingram in. So go ahead and do so against the Jets defense that is not so saucy with Sauce Gardner in that defensive backfield. So there are my sleepers.
I like it, man. I like it. Yep. Don't sleep on those guys. Uncle Rico. I like that. Um, my sleepers. I got to throw Isaiah Bond in there. Old 007 here. Isaiah Bond, uh, the kind of undrafted rookie coming out of nowhere. Gabriel is going to need somebody other than Judy to throw the ball to, and I think Bond is going to be that guy. Um, I like him. Don't sleep on him. If you can pick him up, get him. I think he's a solid wide receiver moving forward. I think he's going to be some fantasy points for you here too. Ryan Florinor. I don't even know how to say his
Wow.
name. So, for the
Wow.
Dallas Cowboys, man, I got too many Cowboys on my list here lately. Here, it's hurting my body.
Rough.
Ryan Florinor. I can't say it right, man. It's terrible.
It's okay.
I can't say it. It's terrible. I'm beating that poor man's name up. But man, rookie, wide receiver, playing well. Pickens, right now you're number one till CeeDee Lamb gets back. This guy had a breakout game, man. He has something to say. So I like that. I like him moving forward. And Tyquan Thornton for the Kansas City Chiefs, he has developed himself a nice little rapport with my man Patrick Mahomes. I like him. Really not a clear cut number one in Kansas City. I know they're waiting for Rice to get back. You got Juju Smith-Schuster, but he's hit or miss sometimes. You got the X-Man. He's been hurt. So Tyquan Thornton, man, I like him moving forward. If you guys can pick him up, I think he's going to develop into a really solid wide receiver. And because of the injuries there in Charger land because the Chargers are going to charge Kamani Vidal. I got a Vidal on you, and that's how I remember his name. So Kamini, man, I can't say nothing today. Uh, Again, it's the cowboy stuff, man. It's making my mouth like whatever. Um, but Vidal, right now with Omarion Hampton being hurt, you're going to need some extra running back help there. And I like Vidal. Again, if your running back room is thin, go ahead and pick him up off the waiver wire. Those are my sleepers of the week, man. And, Mr. Smitty, we were feeling very nostalgic this week. So, and again, I do appreciate you jumping on, guys. Week 6, very exciting week coming up. This is where you start making those moves, man. You got to start solidifying your position to make the playoffs. So go out there, win your week. Start hitting that waiver wire if you need some help. Hit one of us up if you got any questions, comments, concerns. Again, drop a line to us. And please, if you've liked us here today, jump on and like and subscribe on the Boom Broadcasting Network. Come on, follow us, Mayor Man. A lot of great content providers. And Mr. Podcast Smitty, why don't you let the people know where else they can find you here on the Boom Broadcasting Network?
Of course, see us Thursday in the Cat Cave to discuss this win that the Panthers got this week, and then talk about Sunday's game against the old Dallas Cowboys there. A game I'm hoping that my squad that I cover, the Carolina Panthers, win against the Dallas Cowboys. That would make
so
me
too.
smile looking at you, Michael Davis. So that would catch me there. And then Friday's episode of Quick Hits that will be up during your lunch at 12 p.m. Spoiler alert, it will not be about the WNBA.
Really?
It'll be about the NHL because the season has began. We had 3 great games last night, and we've got a whole slate of games on Thursday, but it's going to be a different approach. It won't be any analyzation of these games. It'll be my thoughts which teams to watch, which teams not to watch, which teams are contenders, which teams are pretenders. That's what the episode will be about. It'll be an interactive episode, so hopefully you guys get on and do the comments and talk about it with me. And as always, I'm Shannon Smith, and this is Quick Hits.
I love it, man. Thank you, dude. I appreciate you jumping on here. Again, guys, jump on that Boom Broadcasting bandwagon, like and subscribe. Again, you can check me out here, Sideline Savants, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. You can watch it on demand anytime on the Boom Broadcasting Network. You can also catch me on Mondays with 3 from Deep. We're only a couple of weeks away from the start of the NBA season. So that is heating up. So I also do our All NBA podcast here. So check me out also on the Boom Broadcasting Network. And again, from myself, Mr. Jason Calenzo, from my man Shannon Smith, we appreciate y'all jumping on here. And we will see you next week, man. Peace.